Welcome to another Buckmasters Basics. We're back here today to talk about soil test, the importance of soil test, um, what the advantages of doing a soil test are, and what the functions are, and just to kind of get a general understanding of what we're trying to accomplish. Today we got our good buddy Brandon Self from Whitetail Institute over here with us, going to help us with this process and kind of help us get us some examples, some answers, and an explanation on how we need to do this and why we need to do it. So Brandon, as we start to work through this process, and we've picked a location where we want to actually, we know we want to have a food plot, whether it's new ground, it's an existing food plot, it's been there for 35 years, or we just had a soil test done a year or 2 years ago. It still is I would say the number one building block to a successful food plot is to go out there and actually conduct a soil test.
Yeah.
I mean, you agree with the fact that that's number one, first and
Yeah,
foremost.
it's definitely the most important part of food plotting. It's an insurance plan. What most customers don't understand is it can help you save money in the long run. They're like, well, it's going to cost us money to get this soil test done. The $14 or whatever a normal soil test costs is a slight investment for the great insurance you're going to get off the results that you receive from digging that soil test.
Right. So exactly what is a soil test? Why would we do it, and what does it tell us?
We want to do it just strictly for that reason as insurance, that we're going to grow the most healthy crop that we can, and our soil is going to be as close to what the crop needs as it can be. And what you're going to, it's going to show you your soil pH level, which is critical in plant growth. It's going to show you the critical nutrients that the plants need. They're going to test for that, your nitrogen, potassium, phosphorus. So you're going to get all those results on the soil test, and it'll tell you how many pounds you're going to need to add to get your crop to grow. And those are the main things that it's going to highlight in a soil test.
Okay. So now we've established the fact that we know we need to take a soil test. I know we've got a soil test kit here, but now we're getting out there. We're out in the field. How do we actually go about taking that soil test?
Sure. Most of your soil tests like these are going to come with a bag, some paperwork that you're going to fill out, and all you do really is you take a shovel, a spade. This is a soil testing probe that you can use. It's really handy for pulling soil test plugs. The critical thing is you want to take your soil sample from 6 inches.
Okay.
You want to be uniform across the field with that 6 inches. You don't want to pull one soil sample from one spot in the field because it doesn't give you a whole idea of what's going on across that field because soil types can change inside one field. So you want to get about 10 different spots from all over the field and 6 inches deep. Try to maintain that 6 inches. You want to take all of those plugs, put them in a bucket. Any kind of plastic bucket. We've got one here, any kind of bucket that you can use. Put your soil samples in there, let them dry, and you want to pull that sample out of all those samples mixed together. That way you're going to have an idea over the whole range of the field what the soil types or soil conditions are going to be. You'll take that soil sample out of there, put it in the bag that comes in your soil test kit, fill out your paperwork, mail it off to a lab. Don't do these home kits where you test them yourself. Send them off to a fully certified laboratory so you can get the results that you need that show you exactly what your crops are going to need on those soil test results.
Okay. Is there a standard rule of thumb? I mean, do you need to do one soil test per acre? I know you mentioned taking multiple samples throughout the field, but if I've got a 1 acre food plot or I've got a 20 acre food plot, I'm assuming the more soil tests you take, the better your results are going to be. But is there a rule of thumb on any of that?
If you're planting a crop in a food plot, we recommend one soil test for that food plot. So,
Okay.
no matter the size, you want to take one soil sample but you're going to pull those plugs from all over that field. So
Right,
you're going to
right.
get an idea of what's going on throughout the whole field. But usually one soil test kit per field is going to be, for a food plot is going to be good.
Okay, so it's going to be sufficient. So now we've established what a soil test is. We know how we need to take the soil test now by taking the multiple samples, putting them in a bucket, letting them dry, mixing them all up, and then we get a final mixed version or mixed sample out of that bucket. So once we send it off, we get the results back from the laboratory. What do we do then?
If you use a qualified laboratory, you're going to see exactly what nutrients you need to add on that soil test. So, pH being a critical factor in plant growth and uptake of nutrients available for the plants, you want to add the lime that you have to have for pH, to raise your pH for optimal growth. And you need to do that as early in advance as you can. So if your pH is low and you want to plant in the fall, well, it's probably going to be a good idea to soil test in the spring. Go ahead and add your lime, liming material. That way, by the time fall comes, your soil is going to be where it needs to be. As far as fertilizers go, you don't want to fertilize if you're going to plant in the fall. You don't want to fertilize in the spring.
Right.
You want to get the lime and get the pH raised, and then by the time fall comes, you can add your fertilizers that are recommended then. So, if it's a qualified lab, the results are going to be pretty clearly stated on what you need, and usually they recommend, like our soil test, we recommend pounds per acre, but it also recommends pounds per 1,000 square feet, which is very handy for people that have smaller food plots.
Right.
You don't have to go by the tonnage per acre. You can use for your small food plot per 1,000 square feet. They're easy to read. Tells you exactly what you need to add, and from there it's pretty basic. Just add what's needed, and you'll have a successful plot.
Yeah, I think that's the important part here is it's no different than going to a doctor. If you go to a doctor and they do a test and they can't tell you what the results are, can't explain it to you, you don't know why you did it, you're not sure if they're treating it the right way or what the prognosis or long-term effect is going to be. So that interpretation is just as important as anything else. So, I definitely understand why we need to do a soil test now, but I think moving forward, the things I've learned here is as we go through this process, whether you're consulting the guys over at Whitetail Institute and getting information for them and they're helping you interpret it, or you go to somebody else that's a local expert in your area, make sure you do a soil test for your food plots. Make sure you take the appropriate steps on the front end to get the soil right, because if you don't, you're basically wasting your money at the end of the day. And that's on seed, fertilize, lime. It doesn't matter what we're talking about. If you're just pouring it out there and you're not accomplishing the goal, that the soil test will tell you what your end goal is and where you're trying to get to and what you need to achieve that. You're just wasting time and money. So we don't want to do that. We appreciate you guys watching today and look forward to bringing more videos to you in the future.